So first of all, guys, congratulations having the breakout of the triangle. Another like $1,000 growth of Bitcoin. With every such jump, we are moving deeper and deeper into the bull territory, so it's positive overall. Now let's look what we are having right now. So first of all, I actually had a comment of one of my subscribers about the triangle which I drew before in a couple of videos ago, saying that this is actually incorrect triangle, and his point was that you would have to draw it first from this point, and then the support area should start after the drop. And technically he is correct. I have my own reasons why I picked another one, like starting it from here. I believe that the support lines are more important than the local points of the high and low. But anyway, even with this triangle, as we mentioned before, very similar targets for the growth will be, if you'll just measure the height of the triangle, something like this. So somewhere around $9,660. So we already made like a halfway to that, but still this is the place where you could expect the end of this move and maybe a new pattern to evolve. The bearish scenario though, as I mentioned before, it's still valid because the volume is not that high, so we may move a little bit higher again, and then if here we would have more volume, then on this liquidity we actually may go lower. Then we shall look at the level of 8,400, we shall look at this support line, and then the following moving average downwards. But still, I personally think that it's unlikely to happen, and with every new step upwards, Bitcoin price action tells us that no, we are unlikely having a strong correction anytime soon. By the way, if you'll actually look at this formation, something like this, let's zoom it in a little bit. So up, then correction, new high, correction, then you will probably find something similar in the growth of the price, which was from 4,000 to 5,000. So very strong growth, then correction, up, correction, and then we may have actually a long consolidation with higher highs, higher lows. So the same pretty much may happen again here, and again this will be rather bullish. So after that we may expect a new rise after such an accumulation period. By the way, for those of you who is looking at the CME futures gaps, we have one more gap. Pretty much the same happened here. Some people say that we closed this gap, we almost closed this gap, 50% closing is reasonable, so we may actually close this gap as well. And in order to do that, we need to go something like at least 8,400, which actually would be previous resistance, so serve as a support, very likely to happen. But in fact, I don't really believe that this is the driving factor for the price attracting to this zone. So this is not my opinion, but still people believe it's in such things may be important for the price action. Interestingly enough, altcoins didn't make that much of the drop, and Bitcoin's dominance didn't increase that much on such a huge rise in the price. What you see here though, that altcoins are basically returning its position very soon after the rise of price of Bitcoin, almost to the same level, and now they are consolidating a little bit higher for the Bitcoin dominance than it was the previous level. So this is much healthier for altcoins than the period when they were just dumping, like here, showing almost no strength at all. So now what I was going to show you guys is that first of all, on the weekly time scale, let's have a more zoom out picture and switch to also logarithmic chart. And here you have your stochastic oscillator and RSI. For the stochastic oscillator, what you see here is that we reached the level which was the top level for the whole history of Bitcoin price action. It was here, and here. So stochastic is at the very top. Could it go even higher? Yes, absolutely. But statistically, the higher it goes, the more likely it will suddenly drop lower. So maybe 1-2 weeks more until the crossover, and then it will go down. I don't say that it will be like catastrophic, it may be something like this, or it actually can stay here for a while. I mean, it really depends on the exuberance level of the traders, like how much people FOMO in, but be careful, and I personally would be better considering covering some of the profits on levels something like $9,500 if we'll finally reach those points based on these triangular patterns. And another thing is RSI. So if you look at the RSI, these highs were higher than these highs, and now this is because of the different cycles, bigger capitalization and so on. So now you would expect that this RSI set of the highs would be lower than the previous one, so somewhere around the area at which we are right now. But also just remember this one. This is the point in the end of July 2012, and now let's look at the monthly time frame. And for the monthly time frame, if you look at the candles which we'll have right now, we have 4 green candles with constantly increasing size, and they are actually approaching this long-term trend line which was serving as a support for the bottoms of the price on a global time scale. And this price action happened in the whole history of Bitcoin only twice, in the very early days. First here, second here. Now you see, this is July, August 2012, just at the area where weekly RSI reached the same level. So let's just simply copy this thing and move it over here just for the sake of comparison. You will see then that the bodies of the candles match pretty well. For the next month, in June, what you would have is that this candle, short body but the long upper and lower shadows, so with this shadow, this candle will go above this trend line but will not be able to hold there and return back below, with a quite severe correction of like 50% from maybe $12,000 if you move it a little lower. It really depends on how will you place those candles, to something like $8,000 here and actually $6,000 over here, which means that we might have even a bigger rally for the next month, but then we have even a deeper correction, because guys, it's impossible to go straight up with a higher and higher speed. There should be a point when this growth will stop. So this is one thing, and again, this is just an analogy. This is not necessarily to be the same. History doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes, yada yada yada. So the second thing is over here, and it's even better in terms of the matching the sizes of the candles, in my opinion, and it goes like this. So what we see here is that even in May, it should approach to the level of $10,000, a little bit below than this line, and very close to our targets about the triangles. And then eventually we will see the breakout next month of this trend line, with the price going something like $70,000 in the next couple of months. So this is the perfect parabolic rise, the perfect storm if you wish, and it may have a support at this trend line. And finally, we will have a correction of this move, something like 70% down, 75% down, because the bigger the party, the bigger the hangover after that. So if we wouldn't see any reasonable corrections on the way up, then here it is. It will happen after that with even a stronger drop. Now, if you will ask me, then both of those scenarios are rather unrealistic. Although I do see a lot of FOMO right now. I do see how people are irrationally believe that we may go something like $100,000, $300,000 this year, and so on and so forth. Is it possible? Yes, it is possible. But is it probable? I don't think it is likely to happen. So, in my personal opinion, I don't think that this will be sustainable very long. I don't think that this will happen, but those coincidences, like the match of this level over here, because it will find the support on the previous all-time high, it's really convincing. The fact how does it play out with this trend line, it's also very, very interesting. So although it's unrealistic, but it's really elegant way of price to move forward. And don't forget actually that after that we will have another growth, or at least may have another growth very, very soon. So probably the end of the year, something like that, to crazy almost $500,000. Again, I don't believe that this is realistic, but something like that already happened in the history of Bitcoin. So who knows? I don't know. I just show you guys my thoughts and possible scenarios of the price evolution. So that is it for today. I hope it was useful. Thank you for watching.